This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
That's right, since 1966, just a tad bit before my time. Nonetheless, happy to have you with us for another edition of the Farm Monitor. I am Ray DeLessio.
And I'm his twin brother, Kenny Bergamy. All jokes aside, we've got what we feel is yet another great show for you. Coming up, much of our focus early on, insects. What kinds of insects, you ask? Well, the ones to be on the lookout for in your fields and the ones you hope to protect your livestock from. Also on the show, responsible irrigation use. A special look at how a group of farmers in South Georgia are doing what they can to preserve and protect what is arguably a farmer's most valuable resource.
Plus, time for another Agventure with show contributor Logan Barnes. This time we find her at the controls of some impressive machinery. How'd she do? Well, the answer to that and more starting right now on the Farm Monitor. Well, now that peanut and cotton crops are in the ground for most farmers around the state, the focus shifts to growing season, which means scouting the fields for any potential insect problems. Devin Jones tells you some of the common mistakes to avoid and what pests to be on the lookout for.
It's said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's why scouting your fields for any potential pest problems early on is so important, as it can save you plenty of money and headaches in the long run.
There's no way to know what's happening in the field if you don't go in the field and look. And our growers farming's a very busy business and they're doing a lot, and it's really important for most growers that they hire a scout to do that for them, because most growers don't have the time. But I definitely like to see a grower or a scout in the field in the first 14 days after planting.
You know, we don't want insects to be a yield limiting factor in our crops. At the same time, we don't want to overspend in terms of applying pesticides when we don't need to.
With all the input costs that go into growing a crop, farmers might be tempted to scale back on their time and money commitment to scouting, and that can lead to some common mistakes that will cause long-term problems.
It's not okay to say, well, I've got 100 acres, let me check one field and then treat them all the same. It just doesn't work that way, and we're going to spend money we don't need to spend, and we're going to miss pest problems if we do it like that. We really need to put boots in every field.
But the main point is that they do it on a regular basis. We recommend at least once per week. If we knew when problems were coming, you know, it wouldn't be necessary, but it's important that we look at each and every field at least every week.
A lot of our pest problems start on field edges and then move into the field from there. So if you're not walking the whole field, that's a big issue that especially people who aren't professional scouts tend to make that mistake. But I think the main thing is get in the field. If you're going to do it yourself, don't neglect it. You got to do it. And it takes time, and to do it right takes a fair amount of time, and that's why we tend to hire people to do it. But if you're going to do it yourself, you gotta set aside time and then actually go do it. Don't put it aside thinking, oh, I got more important things to do.
While no pests should be ignored, there is one in particular that cotton growers should be on the lookout for this year.
We really want to encourage farmers to keep a close eye on corn earworm. That's primarily going to happen when cotton begins to bloom. There have been problems with BT cotton performance in other parts of the country.
And even though they were more of a problem 2 years ago, farmers should still be very wary of potential whitefly problems.
After what we experienced in 2017 with whiteflies, you know, whiteflies are still on all of our minds, and we're very observant for them. You know, it's very important, even just detecting a few whiteflies is important for us to make a mental note of.
As for the peanut crop, one pest in particular could be widespread considering all the warm, dry weather during planting season.
And the big thing that's come on in the last couple of weeks is an insect called the lesser cornstalk borer. And that is the most important insect pest that we deal with in the southeast on peanuts. And it's a hot, dry weather pest, and with the weather we had the end of May and 1st of June, it's absolutely perfect for lesser cornstalk borer infestations.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
From insects in the field to other types of insects, as in mosquitoes, ticks, and biting flies. Unfortunately, experts are warning of higher populations this year due to the unusually wet weather and mild temperatures. John Holcomb reports on what this could mean for livestock producers.
Since October, we've had record amounts of rainfall. And although rain isn't a bad thing, it can bring some challenges. challenges that aren't associated with planting and equipment, but have to do with little creatures that love blood. And according to experts, we're going to have our fair share of them this year.
They like wet conditions. Mosquitoes love standing water, so if you've got a field that's got pockets of standing water, that's a great way for mosquito populations to really just thrive. Ticks in particular, they like a lot of overgrowth. They like things that are, grass that's too high.
Both mosquitoes and ticks can cause big problems in livestock, but mosquitoes don't really affect cattle. They're mainly a problem for horses.
Horses every year really struggle with diseases that can be transmitted to them that can cause some pretty serious clinical signs. So in particular in Georgia, what we see is West Nile virus and Eastern equine encephalitis, and those are two viral infections that are transmitted by mosquitoes.
Some of the signs include things like circling, being down for long periods of time, unable to rise, and not wanting to eat or drink. And if you see any of these signs, it's best to get your vet involved as soon as possible.
Typically, if you notice that the horse is off with a fever or any other mild clinical signs and you get your veterinarian involved pretty early, they can do well and they can recover. But unfortunately, there are cases where if the neurologic signs have progressed, it's really in the horse's best interest that they're humanely euthanized, or they may even pass on their own.
But mosquitoes aren't the only thing to worry about. Ticks can be a huge problem as well, especially in cattle.
What we worry about with ticks is anaplasmosis. It's a rickettsial organism that's transmitted by ticks. And if it gets into your cattle herd initially, if they've never been exposed to it before, you can have pretty significant cattle losses about 6 to 12 weeks after introduction.
The disease is very severe and can cause multiple issues, like a fever, weight loss, anemia, and paleness in the muzzle. But ticks aren't the only thing that can cause problems with cattle. There's also one other insect that affects livestock.
Horseflies are the really big ones that tend to stick around horses and affect people as well. In cattle, we really worry about horn flies. They are also a biting fly that they will bite an animal 20 to 30 times a day.
That can lead to several problems for cattle, including things like production losses, blood loss, and even long-term hide damage, which is why it's so important to treat them. And if you find yourself needing some help with any or all of these pests, there are some great resources.
We really look to a lot of our partners at the University of Georgia and University of Georgia Extension, so the College of Veterinary Medicine and Extension. We tap a lot of their resources and share those with people because they're wonderful, they're thoughtful, and they've got some research behind it.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
All right, John, thank you very much. In other ag news, as part of its Land and Leadership Advocates program, Georgia Farm Bureau hosted a special event recently entitled Picnic with the President, as in GFB President Gerald Long. This was at Southern Bell Farm in Henry County. The Land and Leadership program, of course, consisting of farmers between the ages of 36 and 50. The picnic itself providing them with a forum to have their voices heard in person by President Long, who says he wouldn't have it any other way.
So I enjoy coming out and talking to them. And as you know, and I think most everybody knows, I love to be face to face with them. Eyeball to eyeball, as I call it, to be able to talk to them and share ideas, thoughts, success stories from a lot of these younger farmers and all.
When we come back, a new segment on the Monitor, and if you love tractors and dirt, it's something you don't want to miss. Agventures with Logan, after this.
Hey y'all, I'm Noelle Plunkett and I serve as a Vice President for the Georgia FFA Association. I think that FFA projects students forward to places that they never thought they were going to get. And for me personally, I was really shy in middle school and I didn't know a lot of people. I was new to my school when I joined FFA, and so through leadership development events and career development events and attending workshops and conferences, learning those skills that we need in order to be successful, it really taught me the value of leadership and that you can never take any experience for granted because you're constantly learning something at FFA.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
Well, we officially have a new segment here at the Farm Monitor, Agventures with Logan, aka Logan Barnes, who works in our Field Services Department. A few months ago, Logan's first adventure dealt with cattle management. This time around, she got to check something off that bucket list while at the same time giving us an up-close look at what many of you may consider just another day at the office.
Hey everybody, it's Logan. For my latest Agventure, I'm in Washington County doing something I've always wanted to do. This is Bridget Hitchcock, and she's going to be teaching me how to drive a tractor today. And she is one of our lane and leadership advocates. Bridget, could you explain further what we'll be doing today?
Other than you learning how to drive a tractor today, we'll also be harrying, prepping the land to plant soybeans next week.
Okay, and I heard you say harrying. What does that mean?
So that's what we have hooked up here, our implement. Some people call it a disc, call it tillage, whatever you will, but pretty much just leveling out the ground, breaking up the dirt, prepping for the strip till to run through, and then the planters behind that.
Awesome, well let's get started.
All right, let's do it. So, and the great thing about this is with GPS, with one button, you hit.
Oh my word, that's it? That's crazy.
Now it will, you'll occasionally lose signal some, like with anything else.
So what are you doing over here?
So over here, these are our controls. This is what you're going to need to know the most about in order to drive. These control the up and down of the hair. It's pretty much all we're going to have to do today, right now. The other ones will fold it up when you go down the road and that kind of stuff. All right, Logan. You're up. So first we're going to push our clutch in all the way. And we're going to take the orange handle and go forward. Yep. Okay. Now we can ease off the clutch. We're going to let our hair down at the same time. So this first remote, push forward until it clicks.
And then let off this?
And let off that. And it's going to go. Oh, you're good. Go ahead. All right, now push your throttle up, forward, push it all the way up. And then mash that auto button, and that's going to activate your GPS.
Awesome.
And it's going to take it a minute to adjust. And then you can gear on up. Here we go.
Bridget, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
I had a good time.
So really quick, what other responsibilities do you have out here?
Besides my time on the tractor, I mainly manage our cow herd on a day-to-day basis. Anything from tagging calves, treating calves, feeding, that kind of stuff. helping with the irrigation system. We have lots of irrigation systems all over the county, going back and forth, just helping the guys out with that. We also have a wedding barn that I manage and operate. Summertime is always sweet corn time. We grow and sell a lot of sweet corn here locally. So a little bit of everything. First and foremost, a mom and a wife, and just like feel so blessed to be in ag and to get to experience this and to raise my daughter, and hopefully that she'll want to grow up and work hard and do it herself.
That's right. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for today. That was awesome.
I had a good time.
Me too. I had a blast, and I hope you did too. See you next time on another Ag Adventure with Logan.
Great job, Logan. And folks, do not forget, if you missed any part of Logan's story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, The Farm Monitor. Lots of stuff on there, 10 years worth, in fact. Archive goes all the way back to 2009.
And while you're there, keep clicking and like the Farm Monitor Facebook page. Also, if you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or at the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Up next, a look ahead to Smart Irrigation Month and what farmers in South Georgia did to bring awareness to that campaign.
Finally this week, as we put that proverbial bow on June, we now turn our attention to July, which, if you didn't already know, is Smart Irrigation Month nationwide.
And to celebrate this occasion, as well as bring awareness to the campaign, our friends at the Flint River Soil and Water Conservation District were at the forefront of a special video project highlighting all the good things that are being done in Georgia to protect one of the most precious resources.
So, without further delay, it is our privilege to present to you Conservation Through Innovation. See you next week, everybody.
I was born on the Flint River. I do whatever I can to try to save this river because it's not just my generation, it's generations to come.
The Flint River is really the heart of our farm. I wouldn't be here today if the past 5 generations of my family weren't stewards of this land. I want to be the same kind of steward for future generations.
I take pride in what I do being a farmer. Our water resources are extremely important to us, and we want to sustain them forever.
We have the Flint, we have the Chattahoochee, and we have Itchaway, and we have Spring Creek that runs through the center of Colquitt. They supply all the water to the area, and that's pretty much what we use to keep our aquifer regenerated.
Southwest Georgia is a unique environment for water conservation. We have rechargeable aquifers, and we utilize surface water for our irrigation systems. And the technologies we've helped develop here are being used commercially throughout agriculture around the world.
It's so important we protect the land that we have for our kids and our grandkids to provide the food, fiber, and fuel for our nation and for the world.
Water conservation is cleaning water, making good use of it, and passing healthy water downstream so that our neighbors could benefit from it. And that's what our farmers in Georgia are doing today.
Farm families are the heart of Southwest Georgia.
We're the biggest industry in South Georgia, and we provide most of the jobs, not just farming, but related industries as well.
It contributes over $76 billion a year to the economy statewide and over $16 billion in Southwest Georgia alone every year.
Georgia depends on agriculture. 1 out of 7 jobs is involved in agriculture. It's not only a livelihood, but it's a way of life.
These family farms put up everything they own to make a crop.
Drought years can be devastating for a farm. Without irrigation, you literally can make a 0 yield. It can be the end of your career and the end of your way of life.
If it's a drought and we can't supplement rain, the county will basically dry up.
Farmers across Southwest Georgia have really been pioneers when it comes to innovation in irrigation.
So technology is really the key. We're to a point now where we really need and depend on technology.
We have checkoffs on most every crop that we grow, so then we can put money back into research
We try to dedicate a certain number of acres every year to research and development. We try to work with universities and extension services to develop new technologies every year.
A lot of times this new technology is tested at the University of Georgia. We trust the University of Georgia. We trust other farmers that have tried it.
Every season we work with a group of farmers in the area to test the technologies that we develop. Many of the technologies and tools and techniques we develop directly lead to increases in efficiency, which we call more crop per drop.
More crop per drop is a simple way to say that we're increasing irrigation water use efficiency.
Currently, the technology we use to stretch the river's resources are soil moisture monitors that allow us to use less water from the irrigation systems by showing the plants using less water.
This is something we've developed in-house. It has 3 different sensors at 3 depths that we can install in the soil, and they transmit data wirelessly back to a central base station and then to a web server where the farmers can use the data.
Another technology that's been really helpful in making us more efficient is remote pivot control. So I can control our center pivot irrigation systems that are equipped with this technology from anywhere that I have cell phone service or Wi-Fi.
We use drops on our pivots to try and cut down on evaporation.
We've gone from a high pressure irrigation system to low pressure.
We utilize variable rate irrigation, which uses GPS to precisely apply water based on field topography and soil type.
So the technology allows us to measure or estimate very well how much water we have to apply so that we can maximize the yields while minimizing the amount of water that we use.
Too much water at certain times can be just as negative of an impact as too little water. And the technologies we have available now really allow us to put the right amount of water at the right time on that crop.
If our growers use many of these technologies, they're only going to use as much irrigation water as is absolutely necessary to produce that crop.
Because of new technologies, because of new varieties, we can grow twice as much of the same crop on the same acres as when my dad first started farming.
With technology, over time our yields have increased. My grandfather was so proud to be in the 1-ton club of peanuts. And now we're making 3 tons to the acre on this farm.
Our farm produces 12 million pounds of peanuts a year, which equates to 50 jars of peanut butter for 240,000 families.
Water is our most precious commodity.
Water is essential to the livelihood and production of commodity crops.
If farmers don't have access to irrigation water in Georgia, we'll drought. We'll cease to exist as an industry.
The Flint River and water in general is one of the most critical things on any farming operation. It is literally our lifeblood. We have to have it.
We don't pump water just because we have it. It's being used, not wasted.